Greetings, people. Welcome to the show. We're three generations of family. Go head to head on a variety of topics. We got one Gen Zer, Chris, the Millennial, me, and the bait, the Gen Xer, Kai. No matter what the topic, no matter what it may be, you know that it will be up for debate. Episode 33. No clue if that's accurate or not.
Doing this.
Yeah, I don't know. At this point, I think we're in the 30s. I actually stopped numbering. No, I think it's like 28, 29, maybe 30.
We'll start keeping count at 30. So we'll double check after this.
We have to keep count because we got to do like a special 100th episode.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, as Noey brushes his beard.
It's like a different brush for your beard every time.
You know what I'm saying? This right here is laid it down.
Plethora of brushes.
See how just is smooth right there?
He's very into manscaping, people.
Yeah, it comes off to the side like that right there?
Yeah.
Hold on. Did you get that sound?
Hey, gentlemen.
What it do?
Hey, buddies.
What's going on?
Hey, debaters. What it do? We had some commenters about that old 50 top worst rappers. We heard you.
Sure did.
We heard you. But speaking of rappers, unfortunately, we can't have nothing because rapper PNB Rock was gunned down at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. Like, come on, son. Like, you can't even go and eat at a landmark institution. When I went to LA, that was one place that I made sure I went to, was Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. So obviously today's debate is about this particular topic, but I just want to say that whoever is responsible for not only robbing this dude, but for murdering him and taking his life, taking away a father, taking away a son, taking away a boyfriend, taking away a brother, taking away a black man for no reason, you deserve to go to hell with gasoline drawers on via John Wick and the Pitbull on a skateboard.
You look very angry and into the moment. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to.
I shut up. I said what I said, and then I shut up.
It's a very dramatic pause.
But it was one of those, like, you stopped talking, but you were looking at the camera like.
Yeah, I didn't know how to.
It's like, I'm kind of scared to say something.
No, go right ahead.
It's unfortunate. I saw an interview he did. Well, let me backtrack. So I actually just kind of found out who PNB Rock is. Like, you kind of hear songs and stuff, but I don't really know who he is like that. So, I mean, his music isn't really my style of music. I'm not the biggest fan. But one of the things that was kind of crazy was that maybe like a week or two ago, I was watching this dude. The dude who does those videos where he's like, he'll talk to girls and like, yo, let me give you a like, and he'll like put a heart on them. He'd be like, now walk away from me. Or who like rappers songs back to the rapper as they were his own or something like that or whatever.
Yeah.
So he did one of those. He did a few of those with PNB Rock. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is who that is. And you kind of like are able to kind of like tie the name with the face. And you're like, oh, makes sense. And then literally like a week later, it's like rapper PNB Rock shot and killed. And then he did an interview and he was, now I'm not blaming his girlfriend or anything, or his wife or fiance, whatever she is to him. I'm not blaming her. But he recalled another incident where some dudes ran up on him, let's say, for instance, at the mall, and he peeped it, and then he kind of grabbed his wife and his, I think he has a daughter, and was just like, yo, let's get in the car, let's head out, whatever. And, tried to put her on game on, like, yo, this is what's going on. Let's just get in the car and go. And then he was like, we're driving, and this girl like stops driving and pulls over, like, yo, I want to go to this store. And then whoever he was, I guess, trying to get away from was following them or whatever the case may be. And then tie it into this story, and like she's dropping the location and all this other stuff. It's just one of those things where it's like, when I was looking through the comments, everybody was like, nah, she set him up, because he had stories of her, like, of situations like this happening, and then her kind of just being on some like real chill, like, yo, I'm trying to get away and you're stopped and you're not driving anymore. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I didn't know about that part.
So yeah, and this isn't even like hearsay. This is him telling the story. And he was telling the story. It was just one of those like, like, that's kind of interesting. Like,
and he was referring to the same lady.
No, he was talking about his girl.
The
same girl,
the child's mother.
The same one.
The child's mother.
Yeah. Because he called her his girl. He also referred to her as his child's mother and all that other stuff. So he was just like, yo, like, he was like, she don't be seeing it or she don't be known. And everybody was like, nah, son, like, it's not really something you got to see. Like, if it do, like, who you with. So if he's just like, yo, time to go, it's time to go. Like, there is no, let me pull over and stop. And, oh, I want to go shop here. Like, nah, son, I said we're going home. Like, keep driving. Don't stop. Like, what are you doing? So it's kind of just one of those things where you're looking at it like, so that happens. She's the one that dropped the address. And then I believe one of the witnesses that were there were like, yo, dudes walked in knowing he was there. Like, they didn't bother anybody else. They walked in like, yo, we are here for him. So it's just one of those things that kind of makes me think, like, maybe if you come from that lifestyle, you might have to be on some Ghost Tasha business. Like, you got to pick somebody who's also about that lifestyle, because you can't pick somebody who doesn't understand, who doesn't get it, just in case they make a mistake or whatever. Or maybe they're just not the most, I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to put anything on it, but it just was kind of whack to kind of see, like, damn, like, people clearly in the comments weren't feeling it at all. They were like, nah, son, she set him up. But it's unfortunate. I think Fat Joe made some good points in his little thing with Charlemagne. I thought it was funny when he was talking about, if you're gonna rob him, rob him. But why you gotta kill him? And that to me makes sense, because it's kind of just one of those, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you going to Waffle House to kill, like, to kill somebody for their jewelry? Like, what are you doing? Like, it's just one of those things where it's just like, yo, man, I don't know who the dudes are. I don't know his relationship with them, their problems, or whatever the case may be. But at some point, it's just like, yeah, I gotta get over it. Like, I feel like killing people for jewelry is the same way I feel about people who smoke in 2022. Like, bro, you still doing that? Like, we ain't past that yet. Y'all still on this time now? Like, it's just like, oh, I need that chain. Somebody got something. Like, it's like, yo, man. Like, people just gotta do better. I mean, it seems simple. I guess in some ways it is, but people just gotta do better. It's mad unfortunate when you reading stuff like that. Like, yeah, they came in here to rob him for his chain. So nobody's just trying to go work like, oh, his chain is bigger than yours. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the problem. You get it. Oh, I got a nice chain, but his chain is a little bigger. So I need his chain. Like, all right. I mean, it's kind of annoying now, because it's just like people just be doing too much. But I mean, it's unfortunate, man. That's really the word. It's just unfortunate.
I mean,
very much so.
It serves at this point. Things like this is serving as cautionary tales, especially when you're a rapper moving in LA. That joint is unforgiving. We've seen way too many artists get caught up, shot up, in LA over nonsense. I think Ice-T tweeted something where he was just like, I've been telling y'all about, LA gang culture. That joint is not a joke. And as a rapper, you just got to move different, especially now. These times is the wild, wild west. Being a rapper is a very dangerous job at this point in time. I mean, it always has been, But it seems like now it's like dudes getting headhunted left and right. Joint is not a game.
Facts. I think another thing too, what I think rappers or celebrities or whatever, people who just in that life need to do is like, yo, look, bro, like all that location sharing, you need to cut that out. All that. I think you know who actually does a good job of this that I've actually noticed? People who actually do YouTube. Um, when they go places, like they literally don't post. Like if you have a couple or a group of people who YouTube and you know they post videos daily, and it'll be like, oh, we're going on vacation here, or we'll be here, we're in Miami. Like this video was from like 2 weeks ago. They're already back home. Like
By the time
they
it goes, I
like
never post where I'm at when I'm at that. I never post where
We're
I'm at when
just
I'm there.
regular civilians.
And I ain't nobody.
so people just got
You
to do
are
better
someone.
at that.
I mean, you know, you right, you right,
Watch
you right, you right.
But nah,
But you
I,
understand.
it's just like, yo, like, nah, man, you can't be posting like, yo, I'm over here doing this and I'm over here doing that. Cause it's just like, yo, there's always like envious and jealous and hateful people out there, whether you know them or not. Like, there's always people out there watching. It's just like, as rappers, when you know you are in this, if you are truly about that life, or let's say you just an innocent rapper, like, yo, I just spit, I don't bother nobody, nobody bothers me. To me, it doesn't even matter, bro. Like, you're a celebrity. People want what you have and they don't want to work for it. So robbing you is the easiest way to get it, which to me is also stupid because it's like, bro, it's short money. You don't get that chain and then what? You know what I'm saying?
And
like,
when you get found,
you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you can't even spit your gum out on the street without a camera seeing it. So it's just like, it doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. And it's stupid because it's like, these dudes will rob you, take your chain, then go post on Instagram or something, like with a picture on it. It's just like, bro, that's clearly not your chain. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you wearing a chain that says PNB Rock? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
It's just like the people who robbed Safari's house and then went to a club with Safari's chain on that has a picture of his daughter on the chain.
Wow.
Like the pendant is his daughter. Like they molded the pendant after his daughter or whatever. And it's just like, you're out in a custom made chain, taking pictures on Instagram. It's just stupid all the way around. I mean, it's.
But see, this is one of the issues that I have. Like whether or not, if I didn't know that his daughter or his child's mother was doing craziness like that when there was clearly a threat. But when
those words came from him.
But when you reach to certain levels, you can't operate as if, you know, everything is just, you know, the same as you was just regular Joe Schmo. But tagging yourself or tagging your location and taking pictures in front of your house and taking pictures and around your inner circle and taking pictures of your personal items and, you know, popping off like you got stuff is the quickest way for you to lose everything. Look, this is rhinestones. You understand what I'm saying? I ain't got no reason to have to go. I don't have to go out and buy no jewelry. No ma'am, no sir. Cause now, granted, I do know how to keep a 2-piece on me, but who is gonna be eating chicken and waffles with your hand on a 2-piece? You understand what I'm saying?
Got that 38 special.
You know, who is going to be at chicken and you can't just carry a 2-piece everywhere you go. But this is when because once you start getting money like this is when you need that Milan security agency that Ghost had in power.
You know what I will say? And shout out to Floyd Mayweather. Yo, he got money, and that dude, you don't ever see him in the street without like 7 foot, 300-pound dudes. Like, and you don't even see him because he's in the middle of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know why dudes, I mean, I guess it's the rap thing. Like, I don't know. There's no reason for you. Yo, if I was worth $1 million or more and it was public information, I ain't going outside on some regular business. I better believe I'm gonna have somebody with me.
Like you just walk in the street.
Because you can't trust people, man, because don't nobody want to work for nothing.
And even if you just walk the street, niggas will follow you home. Like I drive sometimes the way I drive, and I'm always like, I be like Terminator when I drive. I'm always looking in every mirror, always looking around me every time because I don't trust people.
No, that's actually a good point too, because one of the things that I do is like, and I learned this from my brother, just as far as driving, like always just head on a swivel. But if I see a car and it's just like, yo, we've been going in the same direction for a minute. Now, I don't believe they're following me, but I'll just start doing random stuff like, all right.
To see what they do.
I know I'm about to get a ticket because this is a 25-mile lane and I'm about to be doing 80, but I'll just drive mad fast real quick. Might bust a left, bust a right, just to see, like, is it just, because you just don't be knowing. Because it's just like this person. And then I just start thinking of things like, all right, my car is clearly better than theirs. Or like, you know, just stupid stuff like, what is it? What could they possibly want from me? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, and it's only what they can see. And the only thing they can see right now is that my car is better. So maybe they just trying to pick something up and it's just little stupid things like that. But I mean, just gotta be aware, man. And I just don't see how you a rapper, you come from that life and you just moving
like especially if you came from the hood. Like if you posing, like if you grew up in an affluent neighborhood and you don't know nothing about the hood, then I could see you just getting got because you don't know how niggas think. But if you grew up in the hood and you know how niggas is always like Nice and Smooth says, stick up kids is out. Like stick up kids is everywhere. So you know that this is the life. So if you're not thinking like that and you from that life, just because now you got a little money, and I'm not saying that PNB wasn't thinking like that, because clearly he was, but then, and here goes Shorty, like, I don't know if she liked the fame. Like, I'm not blaming her because she clearly lost her child's father for good. So I'm not saying that she's to blame for him being gone. I don't know. She is. So who knows if she's just like, I can't take the pressure because now they blaming me for my child's father's death. And now she's just like, I don't want to live. Like, God forbid. Now the kid has no parents. But like, dude, you don't have to, everything don't have to be publicized.
It's easier said than, like, it's easy to say, you know, everything doesn't have to be publicized. When,
nah, man.
No, but listen, not for real.
Tell him, Trevor.
No, for real. Seriously. It's not easy to be like, everything doesn't have to be publicized, because it's not just a Gen Zer thing, right? It's how these social media apps and the way society is set up now that conditions people to believe that, you know what I'm saying, you have to be informing people about your whereabouts 24/7. Like, attention is currency right now. Posting is an addiction. Being on social media, it's an addiction. It's not just something you can turn off and turn on. And that goes for every age and every nationality. And it's consistent. It's hard for people to put their phone down, because what other reason would you have to put your location for? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do we care? And you can say that for most people's posts.
Now, there's parts of that I think are true, and then there's parts of that where I can't let it slide, because it's one of those, like, people just have to know better. Because everything can't be, yeah, well, that's just the way it is now. That's not good enough. You know what I'm saying? And that lets people off the hook. So for me, it's just like, I understand exactly where you're coming from. Like I said, there's elements of that I agree with, but there's also a portion of it where it's just like, yo, you know who you are. You know your lifestyle. You know his past lifestyle, and you know where you're at. You know you didn't go to Roscoe's in Beverly Hills, even though there probably ain't no Roscoe's in Beverly Hills. I don't know. But you went to the hood. So if you know you in the hood, I don't think this is the moment for you to be announcing, this is where we at. Like,
especially if he's telling you, yo, this is what it is. However, whenever it happened previously, and he's like, yo, something ain't right. Like, we got to move. And you want to stop and go to the store, go to another store.
Like Shorty. He was just like, yo, she want to stop. That interview was with him and DJ Academics. If anybody wants to watch it, it was him and DJ Academics. But yeah, man, it's just, people got to get over there, because it's not unnecessary. You don't really need to let everybody know what it is you're doing. Like, I'm not really one, and I guess sometimes it's easier for people who don't move like that, because I don't really be posting. Like, the location on my stuff, they never ever posted. And if I do post pictures, I'm usually not there anymore. Or even, I don't post videos about anything. So it's just like, whatever. But I just think people just got to be better in that aspect, man.
I don't like to, be a part of a conspiracy theory. Remember I was telling y'all when we did the show with Uncle Richard about the medical apartheid book?
No.
Okay. Well, Medical Apartheid is a book that just talks about the differences with how we're treated in America and how everybody else is treated. All right. So this is by Harriet Washington. Brilliant author. She's written plenty of books. Brilliant author, right? So in this particular chapter, it's about the selling of Black bodies in morgues, right? And this one just happens to be about Los Angeles, okay? I'm in no way suggesting that this predominance of Black body parts was deliberately engineered, but the confluence of presumed consent statutes and the appearance of Black homicide victims on the coroner's tables explains why their organs and tissues dominate body part scandals. For example, in 1997, the Los Angeles Coroner's Office was found to have sold more than 500 pairs of corneas a year to the Dahomey Eye and Tissue Transplant Bank. 80% were of Black and Latinos whose corneas fetched a profit of 1,000%. Theoretically, at least, persons may opt out by preventing the harvesting of their own or loved one's organs. But most people don't know that you have to opt out of it. And most people that are giving their corneas to this particular organization or this company are homicide victims. And the highest homicide victim rate is in Los Angeles. Okay? So it says, theoretically, at least persons may opt out by preventing the harvesting of their own loved one's organs if they know how and where to lodge objections before death. But few people in the affected 26 states know about the laws, which means that they cannot opt out. No public service announcements alert people in affected states, as they alert people of the option of organ donation and of the possibility of signing one's license in order to donate organs. The same high rate of homicides that deliver Blacks to coroners' tables can ultimately deliver them to those of anatomists, because coroners also supply medical learning institutions through provisions of the UAGA. Today, as in the past, most people whose bodies are so used never gave their permission, because although informed consent remains the gold standard for medical research with living persons, decisions about the donations of one's body after death are made by others. Olson says that in New York State, most cadavers are donated by families. So in New York State and in LA, most organ donations, cadavers donors, cornea donors, are done through homicide victims. And who are the bulk of homicide victims in New York State and in Los Angeles?
I'm gonna guess black people.
Black and brown people. And all we're doing, and don't you realize, and this goes into the other book that I was reading about the law of color, about how it's de jure segregation and how they literally have the housing market strategically done so that these different states and towns can be, they literally created slums and hoods like LA. This is all strategically done. And then they be like, oh, we gotta stop killing each other, when they purposely did it. It's all purposely done. It's just like you saying, yo, we gotta stop eating like this, but all you surrounded by is pigs. We gotta stop eating pork, but the only thing you got on your farm is pigs. You can't grow no sugar cane. You can't grow no collards. No greens is growing. All you got is pigs all around you. We got to stop eating this pork. No corn. And you making 1,000% profit because all of your profit is coming from people that's getting killed. And their bodies is getting donated by coroners.
And the families can't do anything because they don't know to opt out.
No.
It's very interesting.
And once their eyes is closed at when they in the casket, what they gonna do? They could put anything in there to replace the eyes, to make it look like their eyes is still there.
It's pretty interesting. I didn't know that.
These people is, as my mother Bev says, these people is wicked. You understand? They is wicked. I'm trying to tell you. It is wicked.
So all they're selling is just the eyes? I mean, they get anything.
If they can, they harvest the organs too.
So we pretty much out here living that get out life.
Oh yeah. They actually are selling, they still selling children in Africa. They actually selling little kids. That's this sex trafficking. They using our organs with that too. It's real. You know, these white people, they got to stay alive. They got to, they, like Kenya Barron said, the sun hates them. Like the very thing that gives the earth power hates them. So they got to, our melanin, it literally regenerates and
our melanin is a superpower.
It's a superpower. They over here selling corneas. The coroner got a side hustle. The coroner be like, here a little something for yourself. Get a little you roll up a dollar bill, 100, put a little something for yourself.
We be having auctions in the morgue basement.
Yo, you think Jordan Peele just came up with that out of nowhere? He was just like, I think this happens. I think that happened. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt some bargain basement stuff goes down with these. And LA is a prime place because they kill each other for no reason.
Facts.
And what they mother, they father, if their mother and father is there, they're not gonna be like, I just want to see his eyes one more time.
Yeah, definitely not.
Who's laying in the casket looking at somebody's eyes like this? Nobody's.
So
Nobody's.
That'd be OD. Nobody's doing that.
No.
And they know. I mean, I would say it's smart, but I mean, they know what to choose and what to do.
1,000% profit.
I just think it's crazy that.
What is that?
No, go ahead.
No, I ain't saying what you said.
No, I said this conversation took a sharp left turn. I'm still trying to process the transition from PNB to selling corneas out the back door.
No, because the first thing I thought about with this, because when I read this a while back, but when obviously it happened in LA, it just jogged back my memory. And it's just like constant. And obviously us dummies don't even realize the bigger picture. So we just keep on doing it to ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I mean, obviously we're in a system, so you know how that goes, you know.
Yeah.
But at some point we ourselves have to take accountability. You know what I'm saying? Because you can set these traps up as as whatever you want to call that, you know, government, the man, whatever you want to, call it, right? Obviously these things are set in place, out of the structure of the system, but at some point as people and as individuals, we have to take accountability for, where we stand.
I agree.
And have awareness as to where we stand in society, and how our actions affect the things around us, because it's ridiculous.
I agree.
Joint is ridiculous.
I think LA is going to be the next state to follow in Chicago's footsteps with that whole no arrest for murder and kidnapping and all that other stuff, and doing away with bond.
The no cash bail.
To me, if they could do that in Chicago, you could do it in LA. I think New York, most things seem to be more difficult to get done in New York like that. So I don't really see that happening here, or at least not as easily. But I don't know, LA just seems like the next place that might adopt something like that. And maybe a lot of those southern southern states. Could be wrong. I'm just saying that's just my thought.
Real quick, in terms of Black accountability, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was watching this interview with Corday. I don't know if you know who that is, the rapper.
It sounds familiar.
Naomi.
Yeah, he was dating Naomi Osaka,
tennis player.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was having an interview. Smart guy.
Horrible rapper.
I forgot who it was. But he was basically, the interviewer asked him, has he purchased a Cuban link yet? He was like, nah. He was like, I really have no interest in purchasing a Cuban link. And the interviewer was like, why? Every rapper, that's like one of the first pieces of jewelry you have to get, you know what I'm saying? I have to chain this Cuban link. He was just like, I don't think people understand, or he was like, when you talk to like people with real wealth, you know what I'm saying? When you ask them what it would take to even afford a Cuban link, or how much you even have to make to afford a Cuban link, it's nowhere near what people think. So if you have a $250,000 chain, he was like, in order to afford that, really afford it, probably got to be making like 30 million. You know what I'm saying? But most rappers are not even touching that before they even buy a $250,000 chain. So in terms of us, it's not even investing, but purchasing things that don't have value as soon as you know what I'm saying? Like, our priorities in terms of where we allocate our finances and how we perceive wealth, and you know what I'm saying, things like that, is so skewed that it trickles down into our actions. You know what I'm saying? In terms of robbing people for jewelry, and you know what I'm saying, doing these things that really have no sense behind it. No pun intended. Sense, money.
No, I agree totally. But that I think it also stems from us not having from slavery, and in order for us to feel like we were seen, we had to look the part. Even though post the reconstruction, we were in suits, we were sharp, we dressed the part. But in order for us to feel like we were successful, we felt like we had to outwardly prove it with what we wore, as opposed to what we physically possessed, whether it be land, whether it be, ownership. So that is also something that stems from what we did not have. How they gave land grants and land to whites, and they literally gave stuff to them, but yet we had to till and work for every little scrap that we got. And even then it wasn't enough. Even then we were still considered lazy. And yet, when we got something, it was just the littlest thing that we got. It was just like, oh my God, we have something. And then, it was still like it wasn't enough. But they were given stuff. And then now it's just like, we feel like in order for us to feel like we've achieved or we've arrived, we have to wear it. And I remember Mr. T said that was one of the reasons why he did that. The Mr. T. That's why he had all the jewelry on at one point in time, because
that was fly though. Can't even cap.
He had like mad stuff on his neck, because he felt like he had to wear his wealth.
I mean, there's a duality to that too. I don't know if you've ever heard one of those songs off the Magna Carta Holy Grail album with Jay-Z. Him and Rick Ross, they have a song together. And in the beginning of that song, I don't remember who's talking, but he was basically saying that it was like an intro to the song, right, where they have someone talking or whatever, and the guy was just like, don't look down on the young kids that want to have, the shiny things, which is just like, because if you look back into history, we were kings, and you know what I'm saying, and we had, the big jewelry or whatever that was kind of reminiscent of what we do now. So when you look at rappers like Slick Rick or figures like Mr. T and how they do that stuff, it's just like, it's almost reminiscent of,
yeah, we did adorn ourselves. We did adorn ourselves. But the way we do it now is not adorning ourselves like an ISIS or
right. Of course. I'm just saying,
or you know what I'm saying. We ain't doing that.
Yeah.
We ain't looking like we.
But even I'm just saying that as a note to kind of
like right now, even though it's not real diamonds, I got on an ankh.
Yeah.
So I'm still representing. And most people that would be repping, they probably don't even know what an ankh is. They'd be like, Uncle who? Who's Uncle?
And I don't even want to get too, historically, whatever, but even in the book that we were reading, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, where certain actions that we do as a people are very reminiscent of, or the why as to why we do these things are very reminiscent of culture from Africa. Like when we show up late to things, you know what I'm saying? Our perception of time.
They don't have time.
They don't, you know what I'm saying? It's just, we start when everybody gets here. It's not, punctuality is perceived differently over there. And that's kind of why I brought up the whole jewelry thing. Cause it's just like, why we even have
another great book,
tendency to
Dr. Joy DeGruy,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Could be rooted in how we perceive things like that in Africa. But obviously the economic systems are completely different, and how we maneuver with these things can be perceived differently in terms of, we're buying things that have no value and things of that nature. But in terms of, the correlation between African culture and how it's been culturally evolved to now in America as African Americans, kind of notable.
Yeah, because like even you mentioned in Egypt and Ethiopia and a lot of the dynasties and the kingdoms within Africa that wore a lot of the even they had the straight hair. Some of them had the straight hair, and they wore a lot of the gold. Well, you knew gold was one of their richest resources. Gold ain't our resource over here. We got to buy that sucker. The stuff they wore, they grew it. They could just mine that sucker and then meld it and then put it around their neck. We got to buy that over here. They didn't have to pay for that. Huh?
It's the vibranium.
It was vibranium. Right now, we got to buy it. We got to pay Jacob the jeweler. And isn't Jacob Jewish?
Either way, we still buying back what's ours because they mined it, from us,
bought
and
it
then
over
try
here,
to sell it
and then we got to
and
buy
sell
it
it
back.
back. Yeah.
What buy?
Nah,
Now, if I was over there and it was growing in my backyard, like Maya Angelou,
it's capitalism. Capitalism.
then I wouldn't have no problem, wearing it. And then wouldn't nobody rob me because it would be growing in their backyard too. But that's not what it is right now. We all good time scrapping and surviving. Everybody trying to get the same dog on chain.
We got to learn how to play the capitalism game or work it to our advantage. We're victims of capitalism right now, culturally as a people.
Yeah, but there's a piece of that that's kind of like in regards to the jewelry, the clothes, and whatever. I think there's the element of like for Black folks, the people who are trying to get out of, that stereotypical view that the world or white people have of Black people. They use the clothes and the jewelry to do that, but I guess that's a misguided way of doing it. So it's kind of like, yo, if I buy this suit and I go over here and I don't move like them, then they'll see me different. You know what I'm saying? If I just get a nice chain, it might not be the big chain, but if I just get, a chain like a couple of $1,000 and a nice watch, and let me get the Gucci shirt and the Fendi pants or whatever, then they'll see me differently than them, versus like the dudes in the hood is just like, yeah, let me just go drip myself in Gucci, from head to toe with some J's on my feet, with some Balenciaga sneakers and whatever, and just, and it's just mad extra. But I think, there's people on both sides. So you got the people who are just on some more like spend money. And then you have people who actually use it to be on some like, yo, this is what it is I'm trying to do. I'm gonna get something nice to try and separate myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you dress nice and go to the bank to get a loan because you want to be seen as different. You know what I'm saying? So as opposed to walking there in a t-shirt and shorts like a white dude would, you came in here in your Easter suit. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, look at me. I'm not like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I got good clothes on. You know what I'm saying? I got a fedora on. Like, I got on some Kenneth Cole shoes. I'm nice. Like, you see my tie? Got the Windsor knots. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So people use it to also separate themselves to, I guess, in a way, look better. You know what I'm saying? Or make people believe they are better, whether they are or not. It's just, that's just the goal of it. So I think sometimes it works against you in the same way. You know what I'm saying? The same way that you're trying to use it to your benefit, it can also work against you because you've pretty much got everybody doing it. So now everybody looks the same. So it's harder to separate yourself. So now you got dudes who go out and as opposed to just having one nice little chain on, they got 35 of them joints on around their neck and they look stupid. You know what I'm saying? Dude has a watch on both wrists. You know what I'm saying? He's got ankle bracelets on. This nigga's walking around with $500,000 worth of jewelry on. And it's just like, what are we doing here? Like, this dude has a duffel bag with mad money in it. It's probably all the money that he owns. Saying just like, what are we doing here? This doesn't make sense.
Well, rapper T Grizzly, who's also a friend of PNB Rock, his house in Porter Ranch, which is a neighborhood outside of LA.
Yep. LA?
Yeah. His house got robbed for $1 million. They took $1 million in jewelry and cash.
And another thing I don't understand too is, one, where are these people buying their houses? I'm sure they're buying them in nice places, but it's like, look, you know who you are and you know what you do. Like, you ain't a Wall Street trader. You know what I'm saying? You're not a stock guy where nobody sees you. You're a public figure. Like, your house should be secure.
Yeah.
In whatever way that might be for you. Like, I don't feel like an ADT system is good enough for LeBron James' house. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, if I recall, just using him as an example, LeBron James's house in Cleveland, at least, like, he used to have a cop that sat outside the gate and a security station at the front of the house.
I mean, let's be clear though, not a lot of people have LeBron money.
No, I'm just saying.
You're paying cops that outside. Like,
but I'm saying, like, you had enough money to spend $300,000 on a chain.
Yeah, you need to you see, and this is where using your money wisely comes in.
That's psychological too. I think based on just the
Because you
idea
can
of
bet your
having,
by golly, you can bet your by golly wow that Zuckerberg has some great security.
but that's the thing. You have to look at the psychology of it, right? And if you want to make it even simplistic as black and white, this the mentality of a white person is much different of that of a black person. I feel like we have a subconscious inferiority complex that we have to outwardly show, you know what I'm saying, that we're worthy of being wherever we are.
That we
Whereas,
belong here.
right, whereas white dudes, they wear, a polo, some khaki shorts,
Some
and,
Japs.
and them hiking shoes. You know what I'm saying? They don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
They don't
Yeah.
care to outwardly express, you know what I'm saying, that they have it.
Yeah.
Point being, while we work in the Bronx and in New Rochelle, there's a vast difference from the cars that you see in the Bronx versus New Rochelle. In the Bronx, it's a BMW almost every other car.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, and that's not even a joke. I
Even
literally rode around with Eustace. Like it's a BMW everywhere you go.
mm-hmm.
But then you go to New
Yeah.
Rochelle and some of these affluent neighborhoods, they got Mazdas, Toyotas. You know what I'm saying? It's just, the perception of wealth is so different.
It's so much different. Yep.
It's psychological. It's not just simply a matter of, you know what I'm saying, we gotta do better. Nah, you gotta change the psychology first.
The psychology, yes.
It's not as black and white as you make it. Like, we've been underneath for so long that once we have it,
it's just like
we're pressed to show people that we have it.
Look at me, look at me.
Yeah, pressed to show people, but I also believe we're pressed to show people not only because we just want to, but because you feel like you have to separate yourself. You have to show people I'm cool. Like, you don't have to be afraid of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not only just about, yo, I got money, but it's also just to say, like, yo, like, bro, it's safe around me. Like, I'm cool. Like, I'm not going to hurt you. Like, hey, lady, you don't have to run from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you like? Because I know I felt this way walking through the city before, and I've seen plenty of white women see me and go in the opposite direction. And I'm looking at myself like, bro, I have on a suit.
Like, I thought I was snazzy. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you running from? Like,
I thought I was Idris Elba today. What are you talking about?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm coming from work. Like, I have on a suit. I have a job. I'm going home to my family. I could care less about what you're doing. And then you see them look at you, and they run the other way, or you see women who walk past you and like they clutch their purse a little tighter and whatever. So there is that idea of like, okay, when I get some money, I'm gonna make sure that people understand, like, it's cool. Like, I gotta show them, like, yo, I'm rich. I don't need anything from anybody. Like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So I don't always want to. I want to hold Black people accountable, and like Chris did say, it is psychological. But I want to make sure that even though it is psychological, like, you tackle the right pieces of, whatever it is, because it's nuanced. So you want to make sure that you tackle the right pieces of that psychology, or, you know what I'm saying, or of that cognitive issue that they have, and make sure it's like we address this, in the right way. Because I don't always want to make it seem like we're pointing the finger at Black people, because it's like, yo, you think this way for a reason. It's not only because you want that, yo, look at me, I'm famous, I got money, and I'm trying to whatever. But if there is something that is triggered, or that has been triggered over the course of history, you know what I'm saying, because of the way we have been treated.
And I feel like we're trying to subscribe to the system that we're in, right? If you're the system that you're placed in, right? Or at least when you're in an environment with a bunch of people that don't look like you, and you have to be accepted by said people in order to get some type of success, so to speak, then you're kind of, it's pressure to look a certain way, you know what I'm saying, that's not natural to who you are, whether that be straightening your hair or being less inclined to get locks, or, you know what I'm saying, like the nappy, you know what I'm saying. Whereas if you go to places in Africa, you fit right in, because everybody looks like you. But if you're in a system that's not made for you, and you have to go against the grain of who you are in order to accommodate said system, that's an added amount of psychological pressure when you have wealth, to then use that wealth to fit into wherever you are.
Don't miss scenes from part 2 of the special episode from Up for Debate.
White liberal tears can kick rocks with flip-flops and tube socks listening to hip hop.
Hopping socks was kind of a reach rhyme, but I got you. Could have done better. Listening to rock. Could have done better.